Dialogue Talk on the Edge. I'm your host, Landon Rutledge, and today, me and my co-host,
Janiyah Washington.
today we have a special guest, Keith McKendall, Director of Career Services at the Miles College.
Good morning, Landon and Janiyah. Great to be here with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great having you too.
So, Mr. McKendall, what exactly does a Director of Career Services do at a college?
I have a wonderful job at the Miles College, the home of Southern Beauty. So my role is that I am basically, in a nice way of saying it, I am the personal agent for every student who walks through the door for the college. So my job is from the time you register from school until even after you finish school is to help you get a position in your career, help you and guide you get in your career. Not only to help you get positions, but to work with companies, to work with the faculty, to work with the administration and everyone in regards to placement in each individual student's career.
Okay.
That was very interesting, Mr. McKendall. I have a question too. How do you help students figure out what jobs they might like after college?
So there's a couple ways we do it. One which is known is that there are various testings online. So you can go online and you take a test, and some of those tests are what they call math testing or career placement testing. Other ways we do it is we work with the different departments, academic departments at the college to identify students and in regards to what different jobs that's offered, internships. We also have basically where the students can come to the office and we work with the students. We actually counsel one-on-one in regards to what do you like to do, don't like to do, what's based off of what subjects you like, and what interests into regards to placement of jobs. And the other thing is we have where the companies come to the college, and we have seminars for our students within the community in regards to different opportunities or different jobs that they might not have even thought of. And we help place students in those and match companies with people.
I have a side question.
Sure.
So, is there a certain time span of how long it would take people to find a job?
Well, normally it depends. The goal and one of the best things that you can do is start as early as possible. So which means when you come to the college, lots of times folks get hired before they even graduate from college. So let's say a school teacher is a great example here. If you student teach and you connect with a principal and that principal wants to hire you, you get hired. And you can work your entire career at that school. And guess what? You've never looked for a job in your entire life, in your whole career, when that sort of scenario happens. So again, it's individual based, it's student based. And so that's the best answer I can give as far as with that in regards to how long it looks for a job.
Thank you. What do you think is the coolest part about your job?
The coolest part of my job is some of the companies I meet with. Because what happens is I'm sort of the conduit, the connector between the college and a company. So what happens is when I say a company, I mean just any organization you could think of. So some of the neat ones are the federal level. So you wouldn't even think Secret Service come in, the FBI comes in, the Department of Energy comes in. So we're talking about folks who go do stuff like guard the president, keep our nation safe. Those type of companies actually have partnerships with Miles College, and we place those students. Also, the military in regards to officers, or as far as anything that the military does, as far as cybersecurity, anything you think of, they discuss and how to recruit our students to be in those careers. So for me to be able to be the facilitator for that on behalf of Miles College is absolutely wonderful.
So, Mr. McKendall, do you have any fun activities or events to help students learn about differences?
That's one of the things we just talked about. And I'll go back to FBI is, like I said, we have a super strong relationship with them. So the FBI Birmingham actually took our students on a site visit. So we got to see everything in the FBI. We got to see the room in the headquarters. Our students got to be in the armored vans that go around. Some of them went to the armory where they got to see all the toys that the FBI has. And they actually just met with the agents and discussed their careers and what they do, and got to find out that the agents that they see in one light, actually started out just basically like our students. So, which means they either got recruited in college or immediately after college as a young person in their 20s. Or they might have worked at the police force or the military a little while. But you're talking about being transitioned to the FBI between 20 and 30 years old. And so for me, that's really cool. It really is.
It really is. How do you help students who aren't sure what they want to do after college?
Well, and for me, that happens to me every so often, that I'm out of college and certain days it's like, what do I want to do? So, but all joking aside, no, it's one of those deals of we have careers and things we do in life. You know, your career in life, we all think is linear. When I mean linear, I mean straight line. And it's not like that, meaning that I did not go to school saying when I was a young person I'm going to be in career services, but here I am. And if you talk to most adults in a lot of careers, they did not think they were going to do these things, but they got exposed to it. And so I think it's about exposure. I think it's about if you see it, you believe it. And that's why, for me personally, I think diversity is hugely important in regards to seeing people in spaces who look like us, so that we can relate to, whether it's male, female, whatever. I think it's important to see folks in leadership who might have had a similar background and hear their journey, because you'll find struggle is part of the journey, meaning that I think people grow the most when they stretch themselves. So I can say comfortably that I've been stretched. When I was a young person, I was like most young people. I thought about sports or video games. College I wanted to do it. But not till I got there did I realize how serious it is, that it's the decision maker or it's the vehicle that whatever you want to be in life, whether you want to be president, astronaut, or just in your local community as a council person, mayor, school teacher, that all those things happen at your college, whatever college you attend. And that's a powerful thing.
That was interesting. From my point of view, that was real interesting. But if a middle school student like me, wanted to work at a college someday, what advice would you give them?
The other thing is that, and I talked about it a second ago about exposure. I think as a young person, and when I say young person, that starts in whether middle school all the way through high school, that it's okay and it's a good thing to be curious. So what you want to do is you want to visit. Don't be scared to visit. I think in a lot of cases, years ago, how folks learned was through apprenticeship programs, meaning when you go out through and you want to be a bricklayer or a carpenter or something like that, you went with someone and you followed them around and you became that. I think we got away from that, and I think that's healthy. That's why when they have days where they go bring your daughter to work, days to the job, or bring your child to school, I think that's hugely important, because more than seeing the person, you actually hear the stories and you hear where people are doing great things, but you'll hear where an actor or actress might have worked at a restaurant, being a cocktail, being a waiter or waitress, and that they quote unquote paying their dues. You find in life that most people don't start where you see them, that they started their journey somewhere else. And for me, when I was in college, I worked 2 and 3 jobs. So one of them was I worked at a movie theater, popping popcorn and waiting on you when you're at the stand. I think one of the neatest things, I went to visit Hawaii, and I got to see the ice cream shop that President Barack Obama worked at when he was 16 years old. And it's still there, and it's part of the tour when you tour Hawaii. So the important thing is that to realize that we all start somewhere, and it's about the journey of getting there. And I think, and that's in my role in career services, that's what the big thing that, like I'm speaking to you right now, and the conversation we're having right now, that's the conversation I have with students every day.
Okay. That makes sense. I can understand that.
understand too.
What kind of jobs at Miles College do most students look for after they graduate?
We have and I'll go through. So we have, 6 divisions, 25 bachelor's degrees that you could pick from. And so what happens is, but the largest department I'll openly say is business. But with business, like it is a broad field. So again, you could talk about being an accountant. You could talk about being someone who's a manager of any sort of facility, maybe manufacturing, whether it's retail. We also have education. We have, as far as we put students in medical schools and we transition them into like physical therapy, PhD programs. So, but as far as numbers wise, yes, business is our largest. And if you look at most liberal arts college, because Miles College is a liberal arts college, you'll find in a lot of cases that business is the largest. And I don't want to leave out computer science. We do a significant amount of computer science. We have partnerships with those, and so we do a lot of placement. But when you find the rigor of STEM, you find that those numbers themselves are lower historically. But again, as far as percentage-wise, Miles holds their own and puts out a robust amount of STEM graduates.
Well, I'm speechless.
Uh-huh.
So, like, what was the most important thing students should do while in college and to prepare for the future?
I think, and this is a nice broad question that is that I think there's quite a few things that students' advice that I can give, which is one, naturally what you hear is you want to make your grades as high as possible. Because when you have high grades, it determines a couple things. When you go to hire or interview, lots of times that's part of the discussion. The other thing is if you want to do anything school after you get out of college, after your bachelor's degree, your undergraduate degree, that's also part of the conversation for any graduate school or anything like that. The other thing is internship. We talked about shadowing. And then, again, working with the departments when I say departments, your academic department. Meaning if you're in biology, you want to work with the biology department and discuss with your professors the career and get mentored. Van Jones, who's on CNN, he came to Miles a year ago. And it's something he said that I'm going to express to you that I just thought was just a jewel and worth his visit, was that he says college is the only place that you'll have in your life, that you'll have the relationships, that when you go there, you go there for 4 years, you'll have these lifelong relationships, whether it's the professors, whether it's friends. And I can say honestly that happened with me, that there's professors and folks that knew me when I was 17, 18 years old, that I still have these lifelong relationships. And for me, 30 plus years later, that I have these lifelong relationships, that these folks have my vested interest in me and have watched me grow. So for me, in my role, to watch students when they come in and they're like right out of high school and kind of deciding what do I really want to do, and then when they graduate 4 years later, to watch them a fully functional adult and ready for the real world is very special for me.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
And my last question is, how has technology changed the way you help students find jobs?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I really am impressed with your library. And I think, and the work that's done here, because I think whatever academic institution, education, higher education, whether it's even high school, is that education should be doing what's been happening here, that it should enhance your learning. I think a lot of cases, and it happened when I was young, people are scared of technology and scared of what's new. And I don't think that that's correct, especially when it comes to learning. And I'll go back to, the Dark Ages. One of the most tragedies is Galileo. When you realize, and I'll get deep with Galileo and the telescope, and he was jailed over it. The fact that, he discovered the telescope. He was telling folks that there's a change in the world, and it was a new technology. And if you look at through history, that, historically folks are scared of technology. And I think walking around here is the way it should be, that technology should be embraced, and whether it's drones, whether it's AI, whether it's gaming, that should be the part of the learning experience. Because one thing I'll give you, a last thing I'll give you on this, as far as this response, is that I embraced technology when I was young. And so what happens is when lots of times when folks give advice, and whether it's in business and looking at the landscape, they'll give it from the viewpoint of where they sit at. And for you guys as young people, your work experience is going to be different than mine, meaning that I'm part of the past. And, my career, I'm giving career advice because of the years I have behind me. And in reality is you guys should be excited because of the years you have in front of you. Because, again, you're going to be living in a different world than I came through. So our job as adults is to prepare you guys as young people for the jobs of the future and the life that you're going to live, and not the jobs of the past or the present and the life that we're living now.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.